everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we're doing something a bit weird. So we're gonna put on a face mask because I want to do a face mask, and I'm gonna give you a little story time of how I broke my face, because I feel like everybody deserves to know. You know? I feel like I've mentioned it in a couple of videos and said, oh, I'll speak about that another time, and then never got around to speaking about it another time. So now is the time I'm gonna story time the heck out of it. So, whew, stressed. Today, we're gonna use this Blemish, Seventh Heaven Blemish Clay, Deep Cleansing and Calming Hard Drying Mask. Ooh. So you're meant to wipe your face. So I'm using my Simple Water Boost Hydrating Cleansing Wipes. And I'm just gonna take one of those and just clean my face. I don't have any makeup on to clean off, but you know when you when it's hot, which it is, and it's go to bed and you kind of wake up and you're a bit meh. So face is all clean now. Now we gotta rip it open. So you're meant to open it and apply the entire thing. This is 20 grams. Blimey neck. Apply this entire thing to your face. So let's do that. Yay! I'm gonna use a brush because I don't want to get my hands dirty. Ooh, smells good though. It's so cold. I feel like I'm painting faces. To catch up with what's going on with me right now in life, I'm currently I've got into college, congratulations me. I'm going to go and do makeup artistry, so these makeup videos that I do in the future might actually be correct instead of just guessing, which we love. Oh, I was meant to put this freaking... There we go. So yeah, so I've applied for college and I got an unconditional, which is nice. I'm going down to Grantham for a fencing camp, which is also fun. It's the fencing camp that I do every year. It's great fun, so I'm leaving in 2 days' time, and instead of packing for it, I'm doing this. Yay! How are you guys? How are you doing? What have you been up to? If you're in school, how are you feeling about exam results? They come out in a couple of weeks, right? How are you feeling about them? You feeling confident? You feeling not so confident? You feeling like you could have done better? Or are you feeling like you aced it? All are valid opinions and all are valid options, but you probably did a lot better than you thought you did. So just remember that. Love that I'm trying to give advice on exam results when I never got good ones. Right, so I feel like I've put off telling my story of how I broke my face for a long time because I know what's coming. I know I'm gonna get the absolute mickey taken out of me. I know you're all gonna comment being like, how, Kat? How could you have been so stupid? And the answer is, you just kind of are sometimes. You know, when you're like out with friends and you're having a good time, you just kind of forget, and these things happen. So when your parents tell you, kids, don't walk in front of swings, maybe listen to them. Let's start from the beginning. It was 2015, so I was 14 at the time. And I had a competition that weekend. I was literally leaving the next day to go down to this competition. It was the BYCs for any of you fencers watching. And I was leaving literally the next day to go down to this competition. And I was packed, I was ready to go, it was fine. So my friends came to the door and they were like, hey Kat, can you come out? And I was like, oh, I don't know, I've got a competition to, like soon, so I'll ask the parentals. The parentals said yes, because I was basically ready to go, like it was fine. It was not a problem. So I went out with my friends and we have this swing park up in Shield Hill, and that's where we went. That's like the classic hangout. So we went up there and we were just having a laugh, having a good time, chatting, messing about, going up to the shop that we've got, buying food, sweets, soft drinks, drinking them, having a solid laugh. And then, oh, that was a lot. And then I don't think I'll name names, because in case they don't want to be involved in this, I should have probably asked beforehand. But I basically wanted to go on the swings. One of my friends was wrapping a swing around the bar at the top. You know when you like shoot it, you know when you like throw it full pelt to try and wrap it round? You know what I'm talking about. It's a very Scottish thing, so we did. So he was doing that and I was trying to walk to the other swing so that I could swing on those swings. And I just happened to walk right in front of the swing that he so happened to be wrapping at that time. And apparently he did say that he was going to wrap the swing, but I had not heard him. So I had like walked in front of the swing that he was swinging. And I had just blatantly not followed any rules that the parents had set down previously of don't walk in front of swings, Cat. Swings aren't good to walk in front of. Always stay outside the tarmac bit that they've got on swings so that you don't get hit in the face with one of them. So basically, that happened. I got hit in the face by a swing and was knocked unconscious for a period of time. I don't know how long this period of time was, as you can imagine, because I was unconscious. Apparently, I was unconscious for roughly 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. This is on now. Basically, we leave this mask to dry until it's crackly dry for about 15 to 20 minutes. I'm gonna set a little timer. Yeah, I disregarded all the rules and walked right in front of this swing, and it hit me just on the, this was a bad time to put a face mask on, hit me just here on this cheekbone. If I had been like any higher, probably would have been dead. So that's nice. So I got hit on the face and I went unconscious and all my friends thought that I'd died. And then I woke up and it's all a bit of a blur, but I remember thinking I need to go home. I need to go home. So I went home. I tried at least. Walked down this hill, but it had been raining previously, so the hill was a bit muddy. So I slipped on this grass hill and landed flat on the ass and basically was like, great. I can't stand up now because I feel like I'm gonna vomit. So my friends are like, what do you want to do? And I was like, one of you's gonna have to go get my mum. One of you's just gonna have to do it. And they were like, no, it'll be fine. And I'm like, nope, either you get my mum or you call an ambulance. Those are your options. So I was sitting there like head in hands, just about like trying extremely hard not to throw up. 3 of my friends went to go get my mum, and the person that actually hit me with the swing, he stayed with me, bless him, and I just kept telling him to F off. I felt so bad. I just kept telling him to F off because I was like, I can't deal with anything right now, absolutely nothing. So yeah, but he stayed with me, and then my mum sauntered up the hill thinking, oh, she'll just be over dramatic, like it's fine, it'll just be a nosebleed, she'll be alright. And then she saw me and she was like, so she ran to me and she was like, right, we need to take you to the hospital. Now, I was in a pretty out of it state, so I didn't remember that I had a phone in my pocket, and Mum didn't think that I had a phone. Like, Mum completely lost her like mind a little bit and forgot that I had a phone in my pocket. So basically we sent my friends back down to the house to get my brother to drive a car up. Then I went in the car, got taken back home, and sat down, and Mum had like a proper look at me and she was like, honey, I think you've broken something. So we then drove to the hospital, again, still not calling an ambulance. So we drove to the hospital, we went over awful speed bumps. I was going to shock by this moment in time, so I was really cold, really clammy, going really pale, and like shock kills. This wasn't like shock from bleeding out, this was like more psychological shock, so it was still, but still, it's still not good. So we had managed to get me inside, and my mum went to the reception desk and she tried to check me in. This was another big mistake. First mistake, not calling an ambulance. Second mistake, not taking me to the reception desk, because I think if they had seen me, they would have hurried me up that queue a little bit. So we were lying in A&E. I was lying across about 4 chairs. And I had my head on my dad's lap and like my hands like this holding onto him, and I had my legs on my mum slightly raised, and I was covered in about 4 different hoodies that we could find in the car to try and keep me warm, but I was still covered in mud because I hadn't changed up my clothes because we just needed to go to the hospital. So yeah, I was freezing cold, I was really struggling, and then we were sat there for 45 minutes before I got triaged. People with sunburn got seen before me, and I was like, are you serious? Are you actually kidding me? So people with sunburn got seen before me. I waited for 45 minutes, then got to see the triage nurse. Now the triage nurse basically like sums up what happened, what are your symptoms, and then like puts you back out into the waiting room to wait for an actual nurse. So I was in there and she was like, what happened? And I was like, I got hit by a swing. And she was like, were you unconscious? And I'm like, I don't know. She's like, I'm gonna assume you were. And my friends had told my mum that I was for about a minute and a half, so I had been unconscious. And then she was like, okay, we're gonna send you back out to the wait. Have you got any pain? And I was like, yeah. She was like, do you want some painkillers? And I was like, yeah. So she gave me 2 paracetamol to take in tablet form, and one of the flimsy plastic cups that they give you, and I had to try and, so I was in shock, so I was shaking, like properly full on shaking. I couldn't feel this side of my face. So I was just trying to take these 2 paracetamol and this like cup to my mouth, but like I kept dribbling out here because I couldn't feel that side. Oh, it was a mess. We had that, and then I got sent back out. We had to ask to give them to give me blankets, because they had decided that I didn't need a blanket, even though I was in shock and freezing cold. Didn't need a blanket. So then she went and tried to find me a blanket but like she chatted to her mate for the next like 10 minutes, then gave me a blanket and then sent me back out into the waiting room. I waited there for another hour and a half before I saw a nurse. Oh gosh. So I saw this nurse and she was lovely. She got shit done. So she basically took me back to like a ward bit, and then took my obs, which is like my heart rate, my blood pressure, that kind of thing, and then she sent me straight for an x-ray. I don't remember much of the x-ray, apart from having to try and climb out of a bed, like, so they had me on a bed on wheels like that one, so they didn't put me in a wheelchair or anything, they took me in that bed, and having to climb out that and try and walk to the seat that I needed to sit in, and I was stumbling on, it was a mess, oh it was so bad. And then I got my x-rays done, came back. Now I don't remember anything after getting the x-ray done, so I think I either went unconscious again or fell asleep. I can't tell, because it was pretty late at night by this point. So the next thing I remember is waking up to my mum and my dad being there, and they were like, okay, we need to do a memory test on you. And I was like, okay, sure. So we did a memory test, and they asked, do you have any siblings? And I was like, yes, I have 2 older brothers. And they were like, okay, what's their birthday? So I said, 27th of July, 1994. And she was like, okay, and the other one? I was like, 27th of July, 1994. And she just looked at me really confused, and I looked at her really confused because my brother's twins. I know they're twins. I expected her to know that they were twins. So I just looked at her like, why are you asking me the other one? This is obvious. And then my brothers, like my mum and dad, they had to like lean over and be like, they're twins. So the nurse got it. So that was fine. And then she sent my x-rays off to maxillofacial, which are people, also known as max facs. They're people that basically specify in facial surgeries. So yeah, that was fun. We sent the x-rays over to them. I saw them on a couple weeks later, I think. Or at least a week later. And I saw them, and then they were lovely. But so I went in, I think it was on a Friday or a Thursday, I went in and I'd got a hot chocolate from Starbucks and I was sipping it in the waiting room, and then they came to see me and they were like, okay, we're gonna look at your x-rays, we're gonna look at your face, we're gonna see how things are going. So they did all that, and then they came back to me, they were like, have you had anything to eat or drink this morning? And I'm like, yes, I had a hot chocolate from Starbucks. And they were like, okay, you're not having surgery today then, you're gonna have it on Monday. And I was like, excuse me, what? Because I'd never had surgery before this moment. So I wasn't a tear, by the way, I was just wiping some mask away. But like, I'd never had surgery before this moment, so I didn't know what it was like. I had no idea, it was on my face, I was really scared. And weirdly, I hadn't cried at all from this situation up until this moment when he told me I needed surgery. Mainly because I couldn't feel my face, so it didn't really hurt. So then when he told me I had to have surgery, he left me and mum to it because I did not want the surgery. Basically he said if I didn't have the surgery, then my cheekbone was going to be like in my face instead, so I wouldn't have like proper bone structure, it would heal wrongly and I'd have like a dimp and blah. It was horrible. So basically he left me and my mum alone. I cried for a bit. Yeah. So that was that, and then he came back in and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have the surgery. So we went on Monday, and the rules for surgery, so general anaesthetic, when you have it, you can't have eaten or drunk anything like for however many hours before it. So all you're allowed is about 100 ml of water. So it's basically enough to like brush your teeth and wet your mouth with. It's not a lot. So that's all you're allowed. And then, so I had a morning surgery, so I had to have dinner quite early the night before, and then I had to have nothing in the morning for breakfast at all. Now, I'm a person that always eats breakfast. I can hardly survive without a cup of tea in the morning, but I couldn't have it, so we went in, and we'd got me some pyjamas and everything. We were ready for me to be in hospital. They got me like easy pyjamas that I could either fit over my head really easily or like button up ones so that I wouldn't have to put them over my head. Yeah, so we went in and I remember waiting, and then they came through with, because I didn't know if I was going to have to put a gown on or something, so I put my pyjamas on and they were like, can you put this gown on? And I was like, ugh. So I put my gown on. It's not I don't like it. And then they take you into the anaesthetic room. So yeah, so I went in to get my anaesthetic put in, my general anaesthetic, and the person who did it, the person who did it was absolutely lovely. So they sat with me in the room and they were like, normally we ask you to count back from 10, so if you don't mind doing that, we'll do that. So I started counting and he put it in and I was out before I got to like 7. So yeah, that was fun. So we did that, and then I had my surgery. Of course, don't recognise it. It was meant to be half an hour. They were like, oh, it'll be half an hour. No, it took 4 hours. 4 hours. And the reason it took this long is because apparently it's an injury that you'd normally see in a car crash. So in a car crash you'd normally have facial injuries, other injuries, and that's normally when they'd send you to like a bigger, better, more equipped hospital. But because it was only a facial injury, they didn't see the need to put me to a bigger, better, more equipped hospital. So they just didn't. So yeah, I had my 4-hour surgery, and then I really struggled to knock the anaesthetic afterwards. So they gave me tons of a drug called fentanyl, which basically brings your blood pressure down, because my blood pressure was really, really high, and that's quite risky when you've had a facial surgery. It can like blow stuff and it's not good. So they had to give me tons of a drug called fentanyl to try and bring my blood pressure down, but it made me high as a kite, and you can hardly like move. You feel a bit like a sloth. You're just ugh. And they kept asking me to open my eyes so that they could test my pupils, and I just couldn't open my eyes. I could hear everything, but I couldn't see anything or feel anything. It was horrible, so they had to like yank open my eye to like do a pupil test. And then they brought me back up to the ward, transferred me onto a ward bed, and then I started to cry blood, which was fun. Yeah, so basically the sum up of how the surgery went and how they gained access to my cheekbone, because if you look at me in person you see that I've not got any scars on my face, and that's because I've got a scar in my head about here, where they went in through this bit, they went up through my gum on that side, and then down through my bottom eyelid on that side. No, I know it's gross, but that's how they got access to my my cheek that way, so that's how they did it. And then yeah, so they transferred me into a ward bed, I cried blood, and then I just kind of slept for a long time, and I couldn't really wake up, and I couldn't really do anything, and when I was awake I wasn't really moving. And then I went home so I had my surgery on the Monday, I went home on the Tuesday, and I basically just slept at home for a couple weeks, until I got to the point where I was like, I can't stand sitting on the couch and watching Jeremy Kyle for another day. So I asked my mum if I could go back to school. So we put systems in place where I would only move when I would only change class. So we'd arrange systems in place, which meant I could travel to different classes and to lunch and break time after, I'd either leave the classroom slightly before the bell went, or I'd leave slightly after the bell went, when the corridors were less crowded and less chaotic. Because if you've ever been inside Braze High School, you know the one-way system, for one, does not always work, and for two, the corridors are just mad. Well, that took a heck of a lot longer to take off than I thought, so yeah. Basically that's how I broke my face. Now, I know I've made it sound a bit blasé, and I've not gone into all the details of the aftermath and the post-traumatic stress that I had. I've talked about it in my depression and anxiety video from a few years ago. Yeah, it wasn't easy, and that's okay, because it's changed me and moulded me and made me into a better person. So, and now I know not to walk in front of swings. Yeah, so I just wanted to share this story because I feel like I've mentioned it in the past and I've not really focused in on it a lot, so I wanted to let you guys know exactly what happened. And yeah, so if you have any questions about it, anything you want me to answer on it, anything I haven't mentioned that you feel like you want me to talk about, leave me a comment, ask me a question, send me a message on Instagram, whatever, I don't mind, just let me know and I can sort stuff out and I can do things and I can yeah, I can basically go into more detail if you'd like me to. I don't have to. I can go back to doing what I usually do, and again, leave me some suggestions for that. But yeah, let me know what you fancy, what you want to see, all that jazz, and I will see you guys later. Bye!